What is going on? Welcome to episode 28 of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh. I've got player 2, Destinot. What's up, dude? Yo. Player 3, is it I Hate My Life again? What's the name this week?
It's to be determined. We're still working on that. I got some grief for being N64 hate, so I'm gonna avoid that one for a little while.
You're going to change your Twitch name. So, well, welcome, guys.
I can change it for 28 days.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. You can, yeah, well, there you go. There you go. So, Ready Player One, right?
Dude.
Preview. You excited? Destinot? Huh?
Yeah, a little bit. 7.9%. No.
7.9% excited.
That book, when I read it, I thought it was amazing. My brother, who doesn't read because he can't fit it into his schedule going between Iceland, Indonesia, and wherever other place we've only seen in National Geographic. I'm like, dude, you got to read this. It's like, oh, I'll check it out on my flight to, my next exotic destination. He comes back and he's like, dude, that book was so good. Doesn't even tell me anything about his trip, his photographs, anything. Dude, that book is amazing. Do you know he's coming out with another book? Yeah, I do. I know he's coming out with another book. Oh, dude, I got to pick that up. So he actually purchased the hardcover of Armada for me. But yeah, that movie, I can't wait. I just can't wait.
Yeah, hey, you pretty stoked?
Yeah, loved the book. It was amazing to listen to. It's one of the rare ones that I actually listened to and read because I liked it enough. And I watched the trailer. There were tons of references, some of them which weren't in the book, so I'm interested to see the direction they take the movie in. But looks good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. Well, hey, guys, if you would like to listen to Ready Player One, you can go to audibletrial.com/NPC, and there you can get yourself Ready Player One for free. Or choose one of 30,000 other books that you'd like. So it's just as simple as going to audibletrial.com/NPC, pick the book you want, and you help support this show. After that, it's $15 a month, which isn't too bad because most books are like 25 to 30. So you get yourself one book a month that way as well. So, and it's read by Will Wheaton, as Captain Logan in the chat saying. So that's audibletrial.com/NPC. And want to give you guys a heads up. I'm going on vacation next week. So what's going to happen is there's not going to be like an official podcast. Destinot is going to be streaming on twitch.tv/N64Josh and kind of doing like Q&A stuff. So if you guys want to come hang out and try to figure out why he's so salty, come ask the hard questions. He's going to be here for a little bit, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, right, at least an hour. At least an hour to cover one of the shows.
All right, cool.
All Destiny all the time.
Yeah,
not confirmed.
There you go. So, and guys, we do this show live, twitch.tv/N64Josh on Tuesdays. The time may be changing. We may be doing a little bit earlier. So those of you on like the East Coast may actually be able to watch. So that'll be kind of fun. And, but we're going to get we'll get all of that stuff figured out in August. So just stay tuned. We got you. I do want to say real quick, everybody in the chat, Sneaky Sniper, Captain Logan, Alka-Seltzer-Tini, anybody else that's just hanging out, that's just kind of lurking, Ghetto Daddy. Thank you guys for being here with us live. We appreciate it. And we have a lot to cover. There's a lot of Nintendo stuff to talk about. And a few things there's Destinot Salt is going to flow a little bit tonight when it comes to the Nintendo Switch app. Because why? So, first, our pickups this week. What'd you guys pick up? That's not what you get.
A little indie title called Splatoon 2.
Okay.
Best game ever.
Cool.
Ever.
Yeah.
The history of
Anything
ever.
else?
No.
Okay.
Does the Nintendo app count as a game because it's frustrating and challenging at the same time?
Maybe.
No.
With less achievements.
Yeah, with no achievements?
Over?
What is this? 2008?
Yeah. I guess.
There were achievements in 08.
Yeah, 2005.
You're like 98.
Yeah.
98. What?
There weren't achievements back then.
No, you're true. You're right. You're right. I think it was 2006, right? Is that when the 360 came out? Yeah. So, hey, what about you? What'd you pick up this week?
Splatoon for sure.
Yeah.
Loving
First
it.
one, terrible.
What?
Well, I never had it on the Wii U, so I was like, might as well jump on, right? Better late than never.
You're super pissed. You got home and realized it wasn't backwards compatible with your Switch. You're like, why doesn't the
I was
disc
like,
fit?
how does this fit in here? I just don't get it.
I gotta burn it onto a what? Yeah. So I picked up Splatoon 2 as well. I also picked up 8 of the 9 amiibo that came out. So rip my wallet. The only thing I didn't get.
Pick up.
Stop with they're
They're action figures.
They're collectibles. They're not toys.
If I didn't flush the toilet for a week, would you say I've got collectibles?
No, that's not the same. That's
tomato. Agree to disagree.
Yes, we can what? Yeah, the only one I'm missing is the purple squid. I got everything else. And they do look pretty sweet. Bayonetta, she looks awesome. I'm really liking them. Like,
you didn't get? Did you get the player 2?
I got the player 2 of all of them, man. Look, there she is. If you're watching live right now, guys, you can see Bayonetta
That's
player 2. Except leave it to Best Buy to like put the nastiest sticker on the the plastic. I'm like, really, guys, really? Anyway, not a sponsor. Yeah, so that was my pickups, and I am loving Splatoon. We're gonna get into Splatoon a little bit later. We're gonna talk about this week's releases real quick. A game called Fates coming out. You guys familiar with this one at all?
Nope. Fates.
So it's Dynasty Warriors-esque, kind of. I don't know. It's very Japanese. I'm very intrigued by this game, actually. I'm like, maybe I should like start giving some of these like very Japanese games a try, because I typically don't. So I'm thinking about it. And there's another one coming out that we're going to talk about in the news section. Comes out early 2018. That really piqued my interest. So anyway, that's Fates. And the name's longer than that, but it's like Fates / something else, and I'm not sure what it is. But so that's retail released, coming out on the Switch. Miitopia coming out on the 3DS, kind of an RPG. Kind of like, I don't know if you guys play any of the Street Pass games, but it's kind of inspired by that, basically. So I would say go watch some. I know IGN's been putting up some stuff on it. So go check out what they have to say. Hey Pikmin coming out on the 3DS as well. There's also an amiibo for that game. So, you know, if you're an amiibo hunter, don't miss that. I enjoyed the game from the beta. I thought it was pretty good. Or I'm sorry, the demo. Beta. I've been saying beta a lot. So, yeah, Captain Logan says, according to IGN, they like Miitopia. So, and listening to them this week, they did not like Hey Pikmin as much as I did. But I can see why. I can see why. Especially, I have not played much of the other Pikmin, so I'm not comparing it to those where most of them are comparing it to a regular Pikmin game. They're like, it's just not as good. So there you go. As far as indie titles coming out, and there may be more. I didn't look it up, but I just one off the top of my head is Overcooked, which looks like a lot of fun. It does not have online multiplayer, so be aware of that. But it does have local multiplayer, and I think it's for up to 4 people. And it looks very hectic. I hear it's a relationship ruining game, so if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure to pick up Overcooked. It looks like a ton of fun. We're heading out on vacation, like I mentioned, so I may pick this up and be able to play with the fam while we're out in the woods in the cabin. So Captain Logan saying no online for.
Yeah, did they confirm, is that coming later or just not at all?
I kind of think it's not at all, but I don't know. We can look into it. Maybe talk about it in a couple weeks. So, but it looks like a super fun game. As soon as I saw it, all I wanted it was for local play. That was the main reason I was like, this looks good. So, and heard from a few people that it is as well.
Did you pick up Dad Dating Sim? No? Anyone? It was pretty high up there on Twitch last week.
Yeah, is that a Switch exclusive?
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't know what it's for. I think it might be for PC. I don't know. It looks intriguing.
Might have to make a new segment where you just play a random weird game of the week.
Ooh,
That
I don't know if I can play that one though. Those they call them visual novels, I believe. Yeah, no, I can't do those.
You're going down a dark path.
Yeah, that's which is insane. Those games. I read an article where they actually revitalized Steam. Kind of Steam was getting stagnant, and they brought in visual novels, but Steam was like, it's not really a game. Do we want to sell this? And they decided to sell it, and then sell it like hotcakes. Apparently, people like their role playing. Apparently, who knew?
Interesting. Well, hey, before we jump into the news, let's talk a little bit about Splatoon. Okay, so I've never played. I played the beta of Splatoon 1.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't hate it, but you guys have heard me say, like, I don't understand. Why are we shooting the ground? You know, like, can we just shoot each other? Isn't that more fun? After spending some time with this game, I really, really like it. I like it a lot. Like, it is extremely fun. I've been streaming it. We get a handful of us into our Discord chat, and it's like pandemonium. There's points I have to like just pull the headphone out of my ear so I can talk to my stream and everything. But the game, like the controls are tight, right? And a lot of people that have come over from Splatoon 1 have said, hey, you need to do the motion controls. And I'm like, I can't do it. It just does not feel right to play a shooter. And I think what somebody was saying is the reason the motion controls feel a little better is because there's little to no aim assist when you're aiming at enemy players.
Yeah.
And that's why you get more precision when you're doing motion. So I may revisit it a little bit, but I'm just not I'm not sold on it yet. And because I play,
it's hard not to be able to go up and down. It's so weird for the brain.
Yeah, for sure. So, Sneaky Sniper, what's up? Thanks for joining us live, man. Welcome.
Well, the nice thing about the motion controls, and I'm trying to remember if the original Splatoon was like this or not, but definitely Splatoon 2. If you set the motion controls to on, they don't automatically override your normal controls. You can still play. For example, I've only used it with the Pro controller, but you can use your Pro controller and use your dual joysticks. And then if you decide you want to tilt up or down, or you can look left and right by not. It's not tilting the controller. You actually rotate the controller, like as if you were like turning a steering wheel.
Okay.
And it'll still do the motion controls. So you can kind of get the best of both worlds. The nice thing about the motion controls versus a controller, with a controller, I find myself strafing more when I get into like a one-on-one battle with somebody, because if you're trying to move up and down and trying to move the joystick around to look, like you said, there's not much aim assist, so you literally will look right past the other person. There's none of that like aim assist, like, you know, where your crosshairs stick to the other player.
Right.
So I find myself strafing a lot to win the battle. But with the motion control, the cool thing is you can still, like I said, use those joysticks, and if someone runs past you, I found that if you're not using motion control, it's very hard to turn on a dime and like engage that person. Whereas with the motion control, you can literally whip those crosshairs like at a 90-degree angle very easily. So it's more of like if you've ever seen someone play a game on PC and they use a mouse to literally like 180-degree turn like on a dime. You can do more maneuvers like that with the motion controls.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, what
sense.
do you think, man? What are you digging the game?
Yeah. So I'll say if the game were on Xbox, let's say it were an Xbox exclusive, I'd give it a 9.5. It's an arbitrary number, but you'll understand my point in a second. But because it's on Nintendo and the way their online works, I've got to go 8 flat. The game's great, but just the online infrastructure, it's so frustrating to not get paired up with your team. You know, like we were playing the other day and I would be on Josh's team 1 out of every 4 matches. So that's just ridiculous to me, but the gameplay is amazing.
Yeah, the matchmaking is insanely bizarre. You can be in the same
can't understand
match with your buddy, but you're not guaranteed to be on the same team.
Yeah, and it's weird. Even if you bring 4 people, you're going to get split up into a random assortment of teams. And I don't know what Nintendo was doing with that.
I haven't tried ranked yet, though. Has anyone in here tried ranked?
No,
so I don't know if on ranked it locks you in. Maybe? I don't know. Because that would be weird
you
going
would
to ranked
hope.
And be split up.
Yeah,
we'll have to try
there's also the league play, and I don't know how league play differs from ranked. The other complaints I have is I can't co-op with you when I want. It's on a random timer. So they need to fix that. But, I mean, those are not really minor things, in my opinion. I think they're big things that need to get addressed. But the game is that good that you can kind of overlook some of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Captain Logan says, League I know has teams. So there you go. And, I mean, for me, for what I'm doing, like streaming this game, and I can just say, hey, playing with viewers, right? People add me. Like I think we filled a room, or we were very close to filling a room with everybody that was in chat, and so it didn't matter what team you got put on because we were all just kind of playing together and goofing around. It was just a little more casual and a little more fun, and maybe that's why they do that. Maybe their thinking is like, hey, this is a little more like a couch competitive, I guess. I don't know. I can't really say co-op because you're going against each other, but
GoldenEye.
It's a little got that little. And I don't know. It's a weird game to say spoilers for, I guess, but I won't spoil anything. But I'll say this: if you beat the single player game, the gun that you unlock, super cool looking.
Have you beat the single player yet?
So. No, I haven't even. It took me forever to figure out how to even play the single player. I was like, I have to shoot a manhole cover. Like, it took me forever to figure that out. I'm shooting all the balloons in that area, and I'm like, okay, well, this is great. Like, I see these manhole covers or whatever that I'm like, well, that's cool. Nothing says shoot me or anything like that. So I was like,
I haven't felt like I played the single player, and I don't remember shooting a manhole cover. So, okay, I know what you're talking about.
The little. Where you enter the areas,
the other island or what? Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, "What is happening?" But
if you played Splatoon 1, the single player is very familiar. In fact, there were parts that I was playing, and I'm like, "Did they just reskin this?" I feel like I've done this section before. But the best part, in my opinion, just like with Splatoon 1, was the bosses. Splatoon and Splatoon 2 has some very, very unique, very Nintendo, very exciting bosses. One of them, I won't say which one, but one of them makes a return, but in a completely fresh new way, and where you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, so it's not like, oh, great, this guy again. Oh, let's just do the same exact mechanic. Nope, totally new mechanics. Totally new kind of attitude to him. So I'm only on like the 3rd, maybe 4th section of the single player, and I'm liking it so far.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, look, the graphics I think are great. I think it looks good. I love the way the ink looks, the way it just kind of it looks like it has some weight to it.
Play the single player and look at the ink. Oh,
is it?
is it better in the single player?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I played the single player. I don't remember it making me make that sound out of my mouth.
Crazy. You playing it in 4K? 2 feet away?
Well, maybe that's the problem.
No. I have a 1080p. No, the ink, is they do the typical, video game single players better looking than multiplayer thing.
Right.
So, yeah, that there's a difference to the ink. I wish the ink that was in the single player was in the multiplayer.
So yeah, I'm loving the way it looks. The only time I played single player has been on the go, so maybe that's why I didn't see. I couldn't. It was a little tougher to compare, but everything about this game I'm liking. It's like it's got the Nintendo charm to a shooter. The main. I love getting kills in the game. I think it's very satisfying, but like. I also love kind of just like sneaking behind the other team and just covering a bunch of ground. And the main thing I've played is Turf War, so I haven't even really like dug into this thing. So I wouldn't even begin to give it a number, but so far I'm really liking what I'm playing.
Oh, I'm giving it a number. It's the best shooter of the year.
Ever.
It won 2017. See you later, Call of Duty. We don't want you.
I will say this though, as I've said, I love this game. I loved the first one. If you were looking for a 100% new experience, this is not the game that's going to give it to you. Josh and I have talked.
Nor is any other sequel.
Well, yeah. Well, no, we've talked about how the Switch is insanely more popular than the Wii U, and we feel that Nintendo knows this, and this is their chance to get some of their, more exciting titles that they really like too. Like, for example, we're getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We already got it. We're getting Pokken Tournament DX. We got Splatoon 2. Those games, very minor tweaks compared to their Wii U counterparts. But the install base is now huge compared to what it was. So this is their chance to kind of like almost reissue the game to a lot bigger audience. And, the people that didn't have a Wii U probably are getting this game and going like, oh, this is amazing, And it's like, yeah, it was amazing before too, dude. But we did get some new maps with this one. I will say this as a negative, it does feel like, okay, this is a $60 DLC. But for this, I don't mind. I also didn't mind with Mario Kart. I have a feeling I'm not going to mind it with Pokken Tournament. Because they look slightly better visually, just because of the little graphical bump. And I'm getting kind of like more of what I like.
Yeah, Pokken, you're going to be paying like $30 for each character because you're getting 2 new characters, right?
Yeah, kind of. I'm really hoping. I think you told me. I think you confirmed that the controllers work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, docked anyway.
Okay. Well, who plays handheld?
Some people.
Oh, okay. But no, I have those controllers and I love those controllers so much. I felt like the difference between the Wii U and the controller was night and day. Like I couldn't pull off moves for some reason, and whether it was placebo effect or not, the controller suddenly I can pull them off. So, who knows?
That's cool. Well, it sounds like we're all aboard the hype train for Splatoon 2. I think it's going to keep us busy for a while. I mean, it kept me from playing the Destiny 2 beta, which is something. Because
that's impressive.
Kept me from installing it.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. I actually did a bunch of like outdoor things this last weekend. So I was out on the water, like looking for real squid. Didn't find any though. But the free time I had was pretty much all Splatoon 2. So really, really stoked for that game. Since we are going on vacation, that's when I'm gonna dig into the single player because we don't even have Wi-Fi where we're going. It's almost like real camping.
What?
Almost. It's not quite, but without Wi-Fi, it's camping, right? So,
is there a Starbucks
like
within
child
a 10-mile
abuse.
radius?
Is there what?
Is there a Starbucks within a 10-mile radius?
No.
Okay. Oh, that is camping.
No, it's literally at the base of a mountain, basically. So, or a mountain pass. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I love my favorite part about going on this trip. We do it every year. Is we all get up relatively early. And there's a massive deck on the second story, and we go and sit on that deck, and we pretty much all of us pull out DSs and play like like Animal Crossing. Well, now the Switch will be there, so my son's like all stoked to finish Zelda. You know, he's like, I'm waiting until the cabin to finish it. That's what he told me a couple months ago. So,
It's an excellent game.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, I'm scared to bring this one up, guys. I don't even want to know what Destina's gonna say about this next thing. Hey, what do you think about the SNES Mini being able to be pre-ordered from Walmart?
Well, since I was 10 minutes late, I think it's terrible and I hate it. And what a dumb idea. No, I'm fine with it. I would wait for Amazon or something just because I don't like paying for it before it ships. But no, I feel like it was an error though. I mean, how can they possibly have known how much they're getting already? I don't think Nintendo released that to anybody.
Yeah, from my understanding, one of the regulars in the stream was chatting with the Nintendo rep, and they said Nintendo is not very happy with Walmart. So I don't know how, again, that's just what we're hearing. So it's not like an absolutely confirmed thing. But I guess, I guess they're not too happy about it. So,
well, what can they do? It's Walmart. I mean, the only company bigger than Nintendo is Walmart.
Right. Yeah. So, but I was able to get one. It didn't get canceled. So I was happy about that. I'm still going to go camp for one. Because honestly, I'd like to be able to get a couple to do some giveaways with, because I think it'd be awesome. So that's really what I'd like to be able to do. Hopefully, get them from the scalper, like get them before the scalpers do. That's really what I'd like to do. Because man, they drive me crazy. Drive me crazy. Oh, speaking of, and Captain Logan's going to be writing an article about it too. Think Geek, all of a sudden had a whole bunch of NES classics that they sold with as a bundle, ranging from $140 to $220.
What kind of bundle? So
that's I'm guessing T-shirts and decorations. I didn't go and look these up, but it's interesting that Think Geek is owned by GameStop, and they magically got these extra NES classics out of nowhere.
Did they just sit on them the whole time?
We were at the docks and we opened this Connex and oh my gosh, look, there's a whole pallet full. Yeah,
they decided to bid on one of those Connexes Josh has been trying to find games out of.
Yeah. So Captain Logan saying they sold them with lights, backpacks, Mega Man helmets.
Trash.
No comment from either company, So it's not cool. Super Nintendo Dad, what's up, dude? Welcome. It's just not cool. So that's unfortunate that went down. They all sold out though, because I mean, why not? At least if you're going to spend $140, you're getting extra stuff with it. But I mean, at that point, the retailers become a scalper, and so it's not cool. But Destina, we didn't get to hear about your thoughts from the SNES Mini pre-order debacle of 2017. So go ahead.
This is like Walmart trying to outdo Nintendo, like for like boneheaded moves of the year. It's bad enough the thing. I'm sure there's people that have those, those notifications, as soon as it goes live, it's like you go and pre-order and, we talked about the scalpers, like the entire classic situation, and I refer to the NES Classic and now this SNES Classic, and I'm sure the exact same thing is going to happen for the N64 Classic. The whole thing like just leaves a giant bad taste in my mouth. Like, no matter how, it's almost like, you could go like, who is this system for? Is this for little Johnny who's 6 years old? No, he's got no nostalgia for this thing. Why does he want it? He wants Call of Duty 4, or not 4, Call of Duty and a PS4, and then you got, let's say people like Josh or Hate or myself, and it's like we were around when those systems were kind of like, what we grew up on. It's like, yeah, I would love to have one. Oh, they're super hard to find, or I'm at work. Oh, I can't get it. Oh, maybe I can find it online. Oh, $300? Hell no, I'm not buying that. Or you got maybe someone like Josh who's like, oh, I got little girls, little boys. I want to share this with them as part of my childhood. Oh, I can't do that though because I got to work, 30 graveyard shifts to afford the thing now. So now little Susie misses out because she can't share something with her dad. Thanks, scalpers. Thanks, Nintendo, for not putting out enough product because we didn't know this would sell. No, they knew it would sell. But I swear, I think Nintendo, like, you always hear people talk about how, like, oh, I don't want to get bumped into the next tax bracket. I'm glad I didn't work the overtime. I feel like Nintendo is like, we don't want to get bumped in the next tax bracket. What's the minimum amount of product that we can sell without making too much money? Oh, that much? Okay, I put out 5 of them. All right.
For all of you
I changed my opinion. I'm going to side with Destinot after that.
So it's Nintendo doing Nintendo, and now Walmart's like, we want a Nintendo too. Walmart being Walmart, I guess. That's the new hashtag.
So if you guys are feeling dehydrated from all of that salt just now, feel free to pause this, get a glass of water, come back.
Captain Logan knows what's up. Poor Susie. Poor little Susie.
Right. So, I mean, here's the thing. The NES Classic, I know it was for a lot of people, even if they were gamers, some are gamers, some are not. They just wanted to, they may have had real young kids that are like, hey, this is what I want to start them on. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my boys started with, they started with some more like the N64 and the GameCube. But as soon as they were able to figure out, shooters, I mean, they were playing Halo with me. Yeah. Right. And it's probably my bad. I should have kept them on more of the Mario thing. But I mean, my son, my oldest is a baller at Call of Duty now. And the other one's just dominating Destiny. So, I mean, it's, they enjoy it. It's fine. But as far as who it's for, I mean, hopefully it's for everybody. And hopefully there's enough for everybody. Because even my sister, who's like, she could care less about gaming. She's like, oh, she heard about the NES Classic. She's like, oh, I want that. She goes, oh, it's just Nintendo. It's not Super Nintendo. I was like, no, it's not Super Nintendo. She's like, oh, I want Super Nintendo. That's because she's 10 years younger than me. So she's like, Super Nintendo is what she remembers playing, Donkey Kong Country and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So this is for her. And she's got 4 boys all under the age of 6, or they're 6 and under now. So, she's excited for that. At least this one comes with 2 controllers. I hope it's easy for people to find. That's the bottom line. But Destinot, you mentioned there is rumor that the N64 Mini may end up being a possibility. So
I can't imagine why not.
Yeah, at this point they're seeing how stoked people are for all this stuff, and I mean. I don't. How are they going to package these? Is there going to be 4 controllers in that package? Is there going to be 2? Is there going to be like?
Could you imagine get that mini joystick?
If they actually made the controller small. That. Oh my gosh! I can't. I mean,
full size. Not buying it.
Yeah, they're full size. It's going to come with 1. Didn't the original 6.4 launch with just 1?
I think it just came with 1. Yeah. Correct.
So it'll be. The SNES came with 2, so you're getting 2 in that bundle, and then the N64 will just be the 1 boomerang controller.
Oh man, I hope they put it, because the NES Classic just had 1, but they got it right with the SNES. Just do 2, because I don't know if you guys have looked on eBay. The NES Classic controller in the box, the North American one is $300. $300 for just the controller in the box. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm still trying to get just the UK one. I think I'm gonna be able to get one for like $30, just so I have 2 actual Nintendo branded controllers for that thing. Because right now I'm rocking one from Best Buy that's like white and the buttons feel weird. It drives me crazy.
That's only for player 2. That's not your problem.
Yeah, that's right. That's reminiscent of when you were a kid, anyways. Where it's like you didn't have the second official one. You give the kid
you give him the crappy Nyko.
Yeah, kid next door gets the translucent green one.
Exactly. So anyway, N64 Classic might end up being a thing. There was some I don't know, something was filed somewhere with somebody that's hinting at it. So hopefully that's the case. I would love to see that, and it'd just be nice to be able to stream a lot of those 64 games. But the first thing Super Nintendo said was, well, all the good games won't make it onto the system. And I mean, it's not entirely true, but there are an awful lot of good games on the 64 that will be lost to licensing. There will be no GoldenEye.
Whoa. They can pay to have a temporary license. It can be done. It can be done.
It can be.
You gotta ruin dreams, Josh.
If they don't have GoldenEye on there, I'm coming for you. This is your doing. You wished it into existence.
I did not wish it. I wish it was there. I love GoldenEye.
The other thing I just thought about too is so these mini consoles, they're pretty small. And the NES runs NES games, which have been, ported and modded, and each file is like 6 kilobytes or something. They're super tiny. Same thing with the SNES games. They're not like massive games, but when you start jumping into the 64, and if we're eventually gonna get a mini GameCube Classic. Those games start getting harder to emulate, and you start needing like more powerful hardware. I'm just wondering if they'll get to a point where can you even, technically put the game on this tiny little piece of machinery?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I wonder if these small, these 16-bit games and 8-bit games, that's, you could have them on your phone, you could have like 1,000 on your phone. Wouldn't take up any memory at all. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think up to the 64 is probably fine, but I know you've run into issues even running certain games on your like high-end PC.
I have.
When you're
they're insanely CPU dependent.
Yeah.
And I have I have an i7 that I have overclocked to 4.6 gigahertz, and it still can't run. It can't run Rogue Squadron like at 60 frames per second. So I know that game's a fluke. We've talked about it. It's like, that's a special game. And that's the thing. Like that game, its sequel, like one other game run kind of, subpar. Every other game though, like I can run it like beyond 4K at like 120 frames per second, and it's like my CPU is running at 2%. So it's just certain games. But who knows if we would even get those games, because like you said, licensing. I don't want this to sound horrible, but I don't think the GameCube can count as a classic. It's probably my favorite Nintendo system, or it's definitely close to. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it was very well received. It didn't compete well with the Xbox and the PS2. Yeah, I hear you. It's almost like, like the classic car thing. It's like, where do classic cars drop off? Like, is it a moving scale? Just because you get older, does it become a classic? Like in my opinion, personally, like a classic car is like something like even in the 70s is a gray area, but just because when we hit like the year 2100, that doesn't mean suddenly like a 1991 Ford Ranger is going to become a classic. I think that was just from a different. Sell now. Yeah, get out now while it's retained its value. No, so honestly, like I totally hear what you're saying. I think obviously the game, the original NES Classic, SNES Classic, even the 64, I might say, is in that gray area, and then GameCube, I don't think I would consider the GameCube a classic console. Yeah. Maybe not even a retro console. Probably not. Yeah, I don't think maybe that jump to 3D is where that line is.
I don't care what they call it as long as it comes out. Honestly, I don't care if they call it classic or not. Just put the thing out. That's what I'm talking about. So, anyway, who knows what's going to go on with the SNES Mini? I say, go camp for it. Make sure you get one. That's going to be your best bet. Get a buddy system going. Maybe you can pick up a couple, and have a buddy that can pick up a couple or whatever. Whatever. Just do your best. Do your best. Do not lose heart. Because there's supposed to be a lot more of them, according to Nintendo. Hopefully they're not lying. So, two more. And hopefully GameStop doesn't give them all the Think Geek. So, some news dropped today. Lost Sphere. I think it was today. It may have been yesterday. From Square Enix. It's coming out January 2018. It is from some of the tweets I saw. People were like, "Oh my gosh, this is the Chrono Trigger sequel that I've always wanted." So it's the way this game kind of plays like that, I guess. I've never played Chrono Trigger. Sorry, I know. You can send your hate mail or your hate tweets to me. But I watched a video right before we started. Game looks really cool. So I do recommend checking it out, and we'll probably be talking about it more because. I don't know. Just looking at it, I'm like, I want to play a game like this. I want to give it a shot. I want to lose myself in a game like that. And I don't typically do that. There's some DS games like Strangely Default. I think that's the name of it now. It kind of my mind kind of went blank, but that I hear are just really, really great. But they're not typically games I go for. So I want to start expanding my horizons a little bit. And just keep collecting more games that I won't finish, So that's Either of you guys see anything about this game, Lost Sphere?
No, I have not.
No, I haven't.
Okay, yeah. So check it out. It looks really interesting. It looks like it might have a pretty cool story, and so definitely check it out. Here's GameStop again, not a sponsor. If you pre-order Metroid with GameStop, you can get a Samus keychain. It's what you always wanted. Literally, it looks like it's made out of fuse beads. So, if that's your thing, go get Metroid from GameStop. Yeah, I don't know. Even me as a collector, I'm kind of like, I don't know that I really care about that. So, but that's me. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, no.
I don't want a keychain, but. You're going to pre-order anyways, so I guess getting something is that little incentive to go through X vendor. So, why would I go to Target when I can get a keychain from GameStop?
Well, yeah, I have my Mario Kart Rubik's Cube from Target. That's where I bought Mario Kart. Right? And they
you can't put that thing down.
They price matched with Amazon, so I got the good deal too, right? But see, that's the thing. The incentive for me is Best Buy is like 20% less than GameStop, so that's where I'm going to go. Amazon's 20% less.
Unless they step up their pre-order game. If it was something better than a keychain, GameStop, if you're listening, you might get customers back.
Ooh, like if it was like an exclusive level, that's never made anyone angry.
Don't do that stuff.
Oh
my gosh,
that,
I'm editing that out.
What if Josh could get a cool Metroid hat?
Ooh.
Like a trucker hat? He'd be all over it. He'd be like, all right, I'm going to GameStop for sure.
That's true. Dang it. That would work.
Or like a Samus nude code? Oh.
Oh, stop. No.
Oh, wait. Rumor. Apparently that was never a thing.
Yeah. Unconfirmed.
But it could be if you pre-order GameStop today.
No, stop. So, other games that were announced. You're going to love this. I can't wait to hear Destinon's response. Rayman Legends coming out September 12th.
That and Skyrim are like the cockroach of gaming. Like they just
How
won't
old
die.
is Rayman Legends?
It came out, I think, on the 360.
Dude, I don't know. I know I got it for free on my Xbox, and I know it's on the Wii U. Like, I don't know. But hey, hopefully this game's for somebody, right? And I've never, even though I have it on my Xbox, never played it. So maybe this will be maybe getting it on the Switch will be what I need, and maybe some of the upgrades or whatever, the updates to it will be worth a pickup. I don't know. I mean, the Switch is literally a port machine at this point. Yeah. The only like new game is ARMS.
Yeah.
And even Splatoon, like it's yes, it is a sequel.
Close to Splatoon.
But it's very similar to the first game. So
next month we're getting Mario X Rabbids, which looks entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just talking about Nintendo first party games, of course, but because but even, I mean, look, Puyo Puyo Tetris is a is a port. I'm just looking at the stack of games right here. Street Fighter, that's definitely a port. Cave Story Plus, we was playable somewhere else beforehand, so it's interesting. But
1-2 Switch, you forgot the best game.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was original, super OG.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So anyway, that's coming. Rayman Legends. So guys, I kind of have a fun question for those of you in chat. I want you guys to answer this too. But this is our little retro section here. What's your favorite NES game that was also an arcade game? So the list is quite extensive, actually. It's very, very long. And you don't have to pick just one. We can chat about a couple of them. But and you guys in the chat, if you have some answers too, go ahead and let us know your favorite NES game.
NES or any Nintendo game?
No, let's go NES for this one. So I'll pull up the list here and read you a few, and then you can you'll be able to.
I already have my two.
You already okay? Go for it while I'm pulling these up.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, and Gauntlet.
Ooh, Gauntlet. Red Wizard needs food.
Yeah, Green Elf shot the food. I loved that one because, in the arcade, it was just quarter after quarter, but I think it was select or something on the NES, so you could just pump infinite quarters. It's so good.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. My uncle, who I talk about a lot on this, at least in the earlier episodes, because he's the one that got me into gaming when I was really young. When he was in high school, he took 5 buddies. They all took $25. And one guy just would basically 4 of them would be playing, and the other guy would just be pumping quarters into the machine to keep them alive. And like the arcade attendant would like come and like stand and watch and be like, "Guys, I've never seen this far into the game. This is awesome." And then one guy's like, "Dude, my wrist hurts. Like, come take over." So then he would take over, and they would start pumping quarters for the next one, so on and so forth. So, yeah, Gauntlet's a blast. It's a blast. Every time I go down and visit him, we end up playing it in some form, like on the 64 or something. Like, so it's good stuff. Or the GameCube, I guess. But Destinot, do you have any come to mind, or I can read you some?
Well, I too was gonna select Turtles. That game was just I want to say that was the first 4-player arcade cabinet that my friends and I ever played, which is cool because it was like me, my brother, my buddy, his brother. It's like you could all, usually it's 2-player, but you could play all at the same time, with that dual CRT widescreen. That was just a blast. So I mean, there's that one. One of my favorite NES games of all times. Some people may not know this, but Contra was originally arcade. Yep. And Contra Arcade was actually far graphically superior than the NES version. It looked extremely good, and I think it's on the current gen consoles. It's like literally called Contra Arcade. I'm gonna have to look
I just
into
saw it this week. And I bought it on the 360, which is the arcade version, and it's now backwards compatible on the Xbox One.
Okay, cool.
Which should be the arcade game.
But yeah, that one, that first time I ever played Contra was at Pizza Hut in the arcade. Those are the only two that come to mind right away, since we're limiting it to NES.
Right. Well, we'll do it with Super Nintendo too, because or whatever. Because I know you may have some Sega ones as well. But actually, Sega has one of the best arcade games that ended up getting like banned from a lot of arcades because of violence. So it's called Time Killers. Look it up sometime. It's pretty. Everybody has swords, and if you like chop an arm, and your buttons are left arm, left leg, right leg, but you can take limbs off, and then when you hit that button, if the limb's missing, it just squirts blood out of that limb. So
that's Sega.
Yeah, that was definitely Sega. I mean, you got games like Brophy Boy from the chat here said Qbert. Prime Griffin said Mortal Kombat 4. Oh my gosh, these guys!
Kappa.
I swear. Yeah, Kappa.
Super Mario though.
Yeah, from the Play Choice 10 or whatever. There's the Play Choice. You can play Super. Actually, and then the retro arcade that we go to, the barcade, they have just a Super Mario Brothers machine, which is pretty cool. I always see my daughter over there pumping quarters. I'm like, you can play this at home for free, right? She's like, I don't, but not with a joystick. That's what she tells me. I'm like, I love you.
So she's basically telling you need to go out and buy the NES Advantage.
Yeah, pretty much for the NES Classic, right? So you got games like Bubble Bobble 1 and 2, Bump and Jump, Contra, Dig Dug, and Dig Dug 2. But I'm not sure those came to looking through this forum post. I don't think they made it onto the actual NES, but they did to the family.
Dig Dug, I believe, was on NES.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Just based on I'm just going off of what these guys are saying here because they started adding some games that didn't make it, and then they're like, well, if you mean Salamander, then I guess Life Force counts. Like they're getting all technical.
Bending the rules.
You got the Donkey Kong games, of course. Galaga, Galaxian, Gauntlet 1 and 2, Ghosts and Goblins, Gradius, Akari Warriors, Jackal, Joust, Mappyland, Marble Madness, Millipede, Miss Pac-Man, Paperboy, Popeye.
Paperboy had the bike controls in the arcade.
You can sit down on a bike.
You couldn't sit down, but it had the handlebars.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, you steer the handlebars standing.
Yeah, of course, Punch Out, but it's like a totally different Punch Out, right? It's not even close to the same. But I do want to mention, I listened to, and I highly recommend you guys. Most of you that listen to this probably already listened to NVC. Well, I know not every one of you, after reading some of your reviews, you may not listen to NVC, but I would recommend going back and listening to it, especially this last week's episode. Even if you have to fast forward to the arcade section where they talk about like kind of the history of Nintendo and arcades, and like Punch Out was a dual screen machine. You had the boxer you were fighting on one screen, and your character, like Little Mac or whatever, was down below. So they were even doing dual screen stuff way back in the arcade, which is pretty cool. But yes, I mean, there's Super C or Section Z. I don't know if you guys, but like I played a ton of Popeye when I was a kid. I loved that game, which was kind of a Donkey Kong ripoff, right? And Nintendo wanted Donkey Kong to be Popeye. They did not want it, like Donkey Kong wasn't initially going to be Donkey Kong. They wanted it to be Popeye. They wanted to make Popeye, but they couldn't get the license for it. And then once they proved themselves, here came Popeye. And so I was even looking at the cart on eBay, like, oh man, I kind of want to get Popeye on my NES so I can jump back into that. But it was a really fun game. I remember in the arcade, it was one I would look for often, but didn't see very often.
I almost
Rampage.
Oh yeah, Rampage, dude. I had Rampage, but it was like you couldn't be the wolf. You could only be
Lizzie and George, right?
Yeah,
right.
But that was typical. That was typical of the NES ports back in the day. They had to cut back somewhere.
Right.
Oh, I was gonna say I can't believe I forgot about Ivan the Iron Man Stewart's off-road racing. In the arcade, you had those wheels where you could like whip them around and do like almost like a U-turn.
Oh, dude,
you couldn't do that on the NES, but yeah, like that game, and I think was it Tenjin or however you pronounce it, had pole position.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Those games were great. Yeah.
Sneaky Sniper said he spent too much time on Dig Dug and Galaga. Love it. Love it. Spy Hunter was another one.
Mhm.
Russian Attack.
Russian Attack had that for NES.
Bad Dudes.
Yes.
Burger Time. Defender 2. Gyrus.
POW.
Yeah, they have that a little lower. So I mean, there's a lot of games. I kind of almost want to go, maybe this should be like the my current like games I want to like do a little mini collection right now and just go for the NES games that are also arcade games. Because I have a feeling a lot of them are going to kind of just be like commons, so they wouldn't be too much. But Arkanoid, 1942 and 1943. Also really great games. Someone here said Double Dribble. I don't remember that being in the arcade, but
those might have been arcade games.
Yeah, RBI Baseball was a game I played a ton. My dad and I would play so much RBI Baseball, whether it be at home or in the arcade. But I got a few I'm going to read from our Discord, guys. And if you want to get in on the conversation with us, like Twitter is a great place, but you only got 140 characters. Come into our Discord. There'll be a link in the show notes, which will be the lootcave.com/NPC28. And there you can get into the Discord and come and hang out with us. It's growing, like it's growing daily. So come be a part of the conversation. I ask a lot of the questions for the show there. So come hang out with us. I think you can go to the lootcave.com/NPC Discord. Actually, it'll take you right directly to it. But it's no longer just the Nintendo Powercast Discord. It's the N64 Josh Discord, just because we talk about more than just Nintendo now. So let's see. JC Jesse says, for me, it's always been Spy Hunter. I grew up in a beach community with an arcade on the boardwalk about 100 feet from my house, and that was always my go-to game. So Spy Hunter's a good one for sure. Captain Logan said, I only played them on the NES, but Bubble Bobble and Galaga are my favorites. So both great games for sure. And then iHenny says TMNT for sure. It's the first game I remember playing at a large arcade, not just a random one-off arcade game in a restaurant. My brother and I played that game for hours once we got it on NES a few years later. And I've mentioned it before on the show, like that's the one game I could play, finish, start over, finish, start over, like over and over again. Like I loved that game. So yeah, so let's see what last thing here. I can't remember exactly. This is from our chat here. I can't remember exactly. I think it was like a Namco classic, but it came out on the Game Boy Advance later. Yeah, the Namco Museum, which is also coming to the Switch. It had Dig Dug, Galaga, Pac-Man, Pole Position, and something else. And I remember playing all those games in the arcades before it was ported over to the platforms. Yeah, so many great games. And I mean, I remember times too as a kid, like it was like, yes, I'm gonna get Rampage home, right? And you're like, that wasn't too bad of a port. But then there was other games that you were like, I mean, especially if you played like Atari, like the Atari Pac-Man, where like he moved completely different than he did in the arcade. It wasn't even close to the same.
Terrible.
Yeah, but then on the NES, it was a really good port. So there were definitely times that you were like, man, this is not nearly as good. But anyway, hey, we're right at that hour mark. So Destina, where can we find you on the interwebs?
You guys can find me on Twitter at DestinaTLC. I'm kind of lurking Twitter right now. So much going on. I mean, between between like the games we cover on this show, the Nintendo games, and even Destiny, which we cover on our other show. Yeah, there's a lot. I've been following a lot of the artists too. If you guys don't know who Young Khan is, check him out. He does quality work.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hate, how about you, buddy? Where can we find you?
You can find me right here if I get notification of what time the podcast is happening. Just saying. Yeah, I'm on here. I'm on the Switch. I still don't think I ever sent in my horrific friends code to the Google Doc, so I need to do that. But I'm on the NPC. you can at whatever my name is at the time, because I'm still trying to figure out what name won't offend the people. Once we got that dialed in, I'm available to play games, and I'll respond to stuff.
Cool. Sounds good, man. You guys are going to find me on Twitter at N64Josh. You're going to find me on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. I post a lot on my Instagram, a lot of pictures of like the Amiibo and Nintendo Power covers and just different. It's all gaming stuff, especially Nintendo stuff. So, I check that out. And guys, remember we do this show live Tuesday nights. The time might be changing. It may be getting a little earlier. So next week we're off because I'm on vacation. Destinot will be streaming at some point on Tuesday on this channel. So if you have notifications turned on, you'll know exactly when he goes live. And it's just going to be kind of a Q&A. He might play games. He might just sit and chat about whatever. So come hang out with him and, just prepare yourselves for the salt. And remember, if you want to get yourself a free audiobook from Audible, you can go to audibletrial.com/NPC. And if you got time, leave us a review on iTunes. We thank everybody that's been doing that. Like I've been seeing them, and I read every one of them, and I really, really appreciate it. And you guys are going to help us get into that top 200 on iTunes. That's really the goal. So we've hit it once. Now we got to get back there again. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for being here with us live, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. See you later.